Hello. Corybnmania is sweeping the nation. Not an expression I thought I'd ever say, to be honest with you. Jeremy Corbyn is standing to be leader of the Labour Party. To begin with, he was seen as the rank outsider. Apparently now he's the front runner to be leader of the Labour Party. As things stand, he's already delivered one of the great political upsets of modern British politics. I've got a disclaimer. I've known Jeremy for many, many years. I've known him for about a decade, and I'm backing him because I think he's a man of principle, courageous man who stands up for his principles. But I want you to make up your own mind. That's what this interview is all about. So what I want to do is flesh out what he believes, why he's standing, but also how is he going to deal with the odds that are stacked against him. The critics on the right of the party, they say you're unelectable, you're a throwback, you're a dinosaur. How do you respond to them?
Keep off the personal and keep it political. I think the public as a whole are utterly fed up with personality politics, with the idea that everything is about celebrity and nothing is about substance. It's not about an individual, it's absolutely not about an individual. It's about the ability to ordinary people to say, well, actually, there is an alternative to austerity. There is an alternative for a country that goes to war on behalf of the USA. It is possible to have a serious, open discussion about environmental policies.
You've already had various attacks in the Daily Mail, the Telegraph, a lot of the right-wing press. And what they're going to do is they're going to go through your life, the life of people close to you. They're going to distort and smear you as best they can. Are you prepared for that?
I've had it before.
But nowhere near this scale?
No, indeed, nowhere near this level. But I have had it before over my meetings with Sinn Féin during the 1980s, my involvement in the peace process in the Middle East. I've had an awful lot of abuse. I deal with it like this. It hurts when it hurts my friends, my family, my loved ones. I don't care what they say about me, I'm not interested, I'm not bothered. As far as I'm concerned, there's a lot of people out there who are leading a very tough life. Children growing up in grossly overcrowded homes where they can't achieve their potential, people sleeping on the streets, people begging, students leaving university with massive debts who can't get a job. All those people deserve something better than name-calling of each other by politicians.
A critique sometimes of the left, of people like ourselves, is we focus often on people just at the bottom of societies. What are the sorts of policies that wouldn't just be good for people at the very bottom of society, people people who are homeless, people who are very low paid work? What of your policies do you think would appeal to working people who are slap bang in the middle?
I think it's morally reprehensible that we have people sleeping on the streets. I think it's morally reprehensible that people are forced to beg. I think it's morally reprehensible that we're a nation of food banks. There are a lot of people who are not poor who also feel that moral revulsion. Secondly, there's the practical side of it. If we get old, as you and I will one day, in a very long time in your case of course, we're all going to get ill. We're all going to need a health service. We're all going to have relatives who are going to need adult social care. We're all going to have relatives who go through a mental health crisis. At the moment, if you have an elderly relative who goes through an adult social care crisis and needs a great deal of support, they're going to end up having to sell their property, mortgage their homes, pay out everything just to keep that person alive. I think we need a society where the National Health Service and public expenditure takes that over. That's a real sense of security. Secondly, students of all walks of life are now leaving university with massive debt. If instead of cutting corporation tax from 20 to 18%, we raised it to 20.5%, 0.5% increase. That'd be enough to pay for student fees for everybody. That's real security for everybody in society.
To people watching, maybe, who at the moment, maybe they're worried about the future, they have fears, but they feel totally disillusioned by politics. It's just not relevant to their lives. What message of hope would you give them?
Politics gave us the vote. Politics gave us the Factories Act. Politics gave us health and safety at work. Politics gave us the National Health Service. Politics gave us council housing. Politics gave us free education. And politics, properly engaged with, can build those houses that young people need, can get those jobs that young people need, can lift the burden of debt on young people, can care for our elderly, can create a society where we care for each other and everybody cares for everybody else. Walking away leaves it to the cruelty of the free market.
UKIP voters were asked which of the leaders standing would you be most likely to vote Labour for again, and you came top there. How could you win back those UKIP voters?
We were offering austerity light in the general election. We can engage with people and win them back. If we as a party stop being an elite that thinks it knows all and start being, or restart being, part of the community and campaigning together.
If you win, and there's a good chance you'll win as things stand, the Parliamentary Labour Party, there's a big number of people, of MPs there, who are desperate for you not to win.
Really?
Apparently so.
Where have you heard that?
Oh, just a rumour mill.
Just a rumour. It must be just a rumour.
Must be a rumour. A few of them, like Corybnmania and others, they've said they wouldn't serve in your shadow cabinet whatsoever. What's your strategy going to be to keep that Parliamentary Labour Party together?
Charity to all and malice to none. The Parliamentary Labour Party is a very important part of the Labour Party, but it's not the only part of the Labour Party. We have an election process now that's involving possibly 300,000 people. It's the most open and democratic election process has ever been in the history of the Labour Party. If that throws up a result that doesn't enjoy majority support in the Parliamentary Labour Party, I simply say this: think quite carefully about how our party came about. Think quite carefully about those tens of thousands of people that gave up months of their lives to knock on doors to get us elected. Think of the hundreds of thousands who are now involved in this election process. We are only there on the sufferance of them.
Chris Leslie, he's the Shadow Chancellor at the moment. One of your policies is quantitative easing, which we currently have, but that goes to banks. And you're calling for a kind of people's quantitative easing, which would go to infrastructure projects. He said that would be inflationary. How would you respond to that?
Well, I don't quite know how he works out it's going to be inflationary, because if you put a lot of money into a bank, then the bank is going to put it somewhere. They might pay it out in big bonuses, they might pay it out in loans, they might pay it out in lots of ways. But they're deciding where it goes, and they might be investing it in inappropriate ways. They might indeed be encouraging people to take out offshore bank accounts to avoid taxation. What I'm suggesting is this country needs an updated infrastructure, updated rail infrastructure, updated technical infrastructure, broadband and so on, and above all it needs investment in housing. This kind of quantitative easing that I'm suggesting will create real jobs, give us real railways, give us real houses, and in that you have an economic growth. None of this is easy. I'm not pretending any of this is easy, but I'm very clear that pursuing an artificial date to move into budget surplus, an austerity programme that hits against the poorest in our society, that cuts jobs, cuts hopes and cuts aspirations, is not the right way forward. That in turn leads people to turn in on themselves. I think we can mobilise people. It's going to be exciting. It's not going to be simple or going to be easy. But surely, let's do hope, not despair.
So that was Jeremy Corbyn, but I want to know what you think. Are you convinced? Maybe you're not convinced? Do you think he's the future of Labour? Or maybe you don't? And whatever, leave your comments. Let's have a debate, let's have a discussion about him, and subscribe as well. So let's keep the debate going. We'll have more vlogs coming up, and I will see you very soon.